and welcome to today's video. So today's video I am doing a little chit chat post Disney recap. I figured it'd be good to do this because, you know, in the midst of, even though I like vlogged during the trip and everything, sometimes you just like, especially when you're at Disney, you don't get a chance to just like sit down and like talk about things and like wrap up like your thoughts from like the day or the trip and whatever. So I figured it'd be a good idea to just talk about a few things that like, you know, either some disappointments or some highlights or things like that. So all right, so let's, you know, without further ado, let's get into it. And if you're missing any of the Disney World vlogs, I have a whole playlist I will link down below in the description box should you be interested. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. So the first thing I need to talk about, and I talked about this like both like in like my pack with me's and stuff, but it was cold. It was cold. So we were there the first week of January. So it's from New Year's Eve to like the end of that week, that Friday. That's when we left. Guys, it was cold. Like, I'm really glad that we ended up bringing like our light puffer jackets and like the blankets and layers and all that stuff, because man, when I tell you, the mornings and evenings were cold. Even like the midday, even though like the sun was out, you could go around in like a t-shirt and like long pants and be okay. But like if you weren't in sun and if it got windy, you were cold. So as a side note, we did overpack. For sure we did overpack, but I'm glad we did not underpack, because you know, if we had thought like, oh, we'll be okay with just like a hoodie or a sweatshirt, like no, like it got real cold sometimes. So if you are ever gonna go to Orlando, to Disney World in January and maybe even into February, I'm not sure, because I didn't really look that far into the weather, but it was cold. So you're gonna need the layers and you're gonna need a jacket for sure. The next item I want to talk about, and it's an item, is because if you follow like any sort of like Disney mom like content, they will forever be praising the Petunia pickle bottom like diaper bags. And I've actually never used one of their diaper bags, but I do like the brand. Oh no, I'm lying. I do have a diaper bag. It was gifted to us, and it's like a tote. So that's why I didn't love it, because I didn't want like a tote diaper bag. But it is a great bag, for sure, like quality wise, and like nice pockets and organization, all that stuff. Good bag, and like the prints are so cute. But one thing that I've seen a lot of these moms talk about is the sling bag, and I'm like, I have one, I don't really love it. It's just like, it's not like the best bag, like yada yada. I decided to bring it. I don't know what exactly like pushed me to do it, but I decided to bring it. You guys, I'm officially a convert. So this is the one that I have. I have the Belle print. This is actually a discontinued print. I think I got it on sale, which is why I even bought it. But okay, I'm gonna tell you why I'm a convert of this bag. First of all, the one reason I like it is because I don't carry anything for my kid in here. This is literally like my personal bag. Of course, like, you know, when we're out and about, I will throw a couple things in here. Like right now I've got like a Chewy bar for my 3-year-old in case, you know, whatever. But so anyway, but when I used it as my bag, as opposed to like a smaller like diaper bag for my daughter, I liked it so much better, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, I currently got like my keys hooked on here, and I don't have that normally on here. It's just right now because whatever. So there is a small pocket back here, and it's not deep, like maybe like 2/3 of my hand go in. But when I paired it with this chain wallet, this is one from Stone Culver, but anyone with the hooking it onto this little ring here and having this just sit in here made it so nice for easy access. So that was one thing I liked. That was good. You have the front insulated pocket. For some reason, I was like, well, if I have an insulated pocket, I need to put like snacks in there. I need to put food. No, forget that. I used it as my phone pocket, because I have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so it's a big phone, right? and it doesn't fit in this like little itty pocket back here like at all, basically. Like that doesn't secure anything. Putting it in the front insulated pocket, I mean, it just slides perfectly in there, of course, right? And there's room for other things if you wanted to put it in there. But I loved having that, and I love that. At first, this used to bother me that this like zip stopped here, but now I love it because it just becomes a pocket. So I don't even have to worry about like zipping it up all the time. I can literally just use it as like an open pocket to take my phone like in and out. So that I really liked. The next thing I really liked is the fact that this sling bag opens up so much. Like this zipper almost opens completely around. So that was, you know, the plus. But then I realized that, you know, that's great and everything, but then like, I think I just had the wrong organization system, and that's why it wasn't working. So because I vlog a lot, I need space for my camera, and it just never worked with like the small pouch that I was using. I was using the small like square one from Sony Clover. It just like, it didn't make sense. Things were like jumbled up in there. It's whatever. I got this longer pouch. This one's from Miniso, and this works so much better because this just slides in like that, and then I have all this space here to just stick my camera in with the like my handheld tripod, anything else that needs to go in there. And so I think I just had the wrong organization system, and now that I've fixed it, I am a true convert. I love this bag now, and I use it like I have it with me now. I love this bag, so good. I cannot praise it enough, which is like crazy. So anyway, I just had to point that out because that was a huge turnaround for me. I just didn't understand why people liked it. I was like, what? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's so great about it? I've got it now. With the right organization, it is perfect. Perfect, perfect. Just a couple things that I want to talk about in terms of things that I brought, since we're kind of in that category. First of all, I did talk about, like, in my pregnancy essentials for Disney, my new sneakers, the Kizik's, that are like the hands-free, just like slip-on sneakers. They were great, so comfortable. My feet didn't hurt at all. I actually ended up wearing them like every single day except for like one day, and that's because we weren't in the parks. But really, really comfortable, and I was worried about them getting super dirty. It was actually fine. Like, I was surprised. So yeah, super comfortable, and we were very lucky it didn't rain because they are not for rain, for sure. But either way, really, really good shoe. I would highly recommend. So comfortable, so lightweight. It was just so easy. The next thing in terms of that, actually I'm going to mention another couple things from my pregnancy essentials video for Disney. I don't think I would have survived without some of these things, and I'm really glad that first of all, I'm glad that I made that video, and two, I'm glad that I packed these things. One, the belly band was huge, guys. Like, the first day I thought it was fine, and then I was like, God, like, oh, like my back is hurting, like whatever. As soon as I put the band on, made it so much better, so much better. So that was great. The next thing, the compression socks. 100% needed them. I 100% needed the belly band and the compression socks. Having them together was just, oh my God, like. And then on top of it, so I hadn't fully switched into maternity clothes, but I ended up buying a maternity tank top because I really needed actually a white, like, spaghetti strap one for layering. So I ended up buying one that also had like the belly support, if you know what I mean. That was also, oh my God, like life-saving. So I ended up washing that and like wearing it a couple times. So that was like really good. So yeah, like I needed the maternity clothes, the couple ones that I also brought maternity leggings. I needed them just to support the belly. It wasn't even about comfort because I was still comfortable in like kind of like oversized regular clothes. It was the support on the belly was 100% needed. So I'm really, really glad I brought some of those items. So yes, even if you don't think you need maternity clothes, if you're gonna go on like a trip where you're walking a ton, you might want to consider it. Just if you pick out a few key items just to help support the belly, because they'll make the biggest difference. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that. One last thing before we kind of jump into like the actual like trip was I am the biggest like supporter of the inflatable footrest on airplanes and flights, especially for long flights. I didn't end up using it this time. I think this was the first flight in a while that I did not use it. One, because we did have to transfer. We had to transfer in Atlanta, so we had the majority of our flight was the first leg. It was about 3 to 4 hours, something like that. So we could have used it. We could have used it for sure, but I didn't want to have to deal with like deflating it and packing it away and then like possibly needing to do it again. So I opted to not bring it. And we, like I said, we overpacked. So I was trying to eliminate wherever I could in terms of the stuff we were bringing. It actually worked out really well. On the one hand, I did miss having like that space like filled in, just like so my daughter could just like freely like kind of move about and whatever. But because she's gotten older and taller, it doesn't really work as a bed for her like across that way or like vertical. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. It really just works as like an extra like extended like footrest, like a true footrest for her, or like extended like table area to play on or whatever. So I will still keep using it until she's like fully old enough to like really not need it at all. But what worked out actually, because my daughter did fall asleep on the first leg of the flight and coming back too, she fell asleep both ways, is I literally just had her lay across. And because she has her own seat, so the majority of her body is on the seat. It's just either her head or her legs are on me or my husband, and it worked out great. So I was very surprised that we didn't actually like need it. It's just more a nice to have now, just at the age that my daughter is at. She is 3 years old. So yeah, but it was just good to know that if I needed to eliminate it, I could, and she could still be comfortable in sleep and all that stuff. So all right, so now let's kind of get into the actual trip. So I'm gonna name, so there were a couple of disappointments, and it was, the first thing was we didn't make time to go see the new Journey of Water, the Moana walkthrough, and I was kind of bummed about that. I actually thought about maybe trying to squeeze it in on our last day, but it just didn't make sense. And you know, we didn't want to be super pressed for time because we went into the parks on the last day and then we had to fly out that night, so it just didn't make sense. But I was pretty bummed that we didn't get to see it because I felt like my daughter would have really enjoyed it, because it's like a water immersive type of experience, and you know, it just would have been really nice to see because it's one of the new things. So that was a bit of a bummer. But honestly, if Disney in general, if Disney has taught me anything, and Disney with kids, or a kid, because we only have one right now, it is to truly not get super bummed out if you miss out on something. And I think that has just shifted my mindset so much, because you know, while it's disappointing, it's not something that would necessarily ruin my entire trip. So yeah, it was a little bit sad that we didn't get to see it, but you know, it's there. It's not like it's a temporary exhibit, so we'll see it in the future for sure. But it was just like, I think that really just like triggered something where like, I always knew this, like, you know, if you don't get to do everything, you don't get to do everything, right? That's how it works. But I think it was like, that was just like, oh, that kind of sucks, but it's okay. You know, like I was really truly like okay with it. So interesting. Another thing I want to talk about, and this is not necessarily like a disappointment, but just like, this was something, so we had planned to take midday breaks, and I am a huge fan of midday breaks, especially when I've gone to like Disney solo with my daughter. Like, you know, going a full day is just like not in the cards anymore. But we ended up not taking any breaks, which I guess I kind of should have been not so surprised about, because my husband is, especially when we go to Disney, he is not the type to take the breaks. Like, he says that he wants to do this and like whatever, but he is the type that like, he wants to get his money's worth. He wants to just make the best use of the time. He is very like logical and sensical and all those things. So we ended up not taking any breaks, which was fine, because all the, like, both the kiddos got their naps in, and, you know, I think it was just harder on the adults just physically. But I think, you know, it worked out timing wise and to like do the most that we could within the time that we had to not take the break. So it was what it was, right? But had I had not planned for breaks, I think I would have, on the one hand, packed differently. That's the one thing, because I planned to change like midday. So that's one of the reasons why I overpacked. So whatever, it is what it is, right? Then I think it would have just shifted the mindset in terms of like how we would have planned our days, because we did park hop and all that stuff. So I think we would have, whatever, you know, I would have planned it a little bit differently, but it is what it is, right? Okay. The next thing it kind of goes hand in hand with that. Because we were doing breaks and we were like thinking about like whatever, we weren't planning on utilizing Genie Plus. We weren't planning on purchasing it. We ended up purchasing it for 2 of the 3 days that we were with like the whole group, because my family, we went 1 extra day at the end of our trips, just the 3 of us. We ended up using it for 2 of the days. The first day, we purchased it too late. And it was because like, you know, we didn't make the decision before we made it like the day of, and we lost out on a lot of things. We really didn't get, you know, the full use of it the first day. The second day, we got the full use of it, and I'll tell you why. That kind of goes into my next point. I used Standby Skipper for the first time. Impressive, guys. So luckily, I think the timing of how I purchased it worked in our favor, because I was able to buy the 1-day access pass for $25, but then use it for 2 days. So the 2 days that we used Genie Plus, the 24-hour window, I guess, that I had, allowed me to use it for both days. So that was so good, because it worked out so much better the second day than it did the first day. The first day it helped a little bit, but the second day made it all completely worth it. So I would highly recommend, if you are going to Disney World and, you know, there's like rides that are priority and like things like that, Standby Skipper is so amazing. Like, you basically just put in like your preferences for whichever parks, and it'll book these lightning lanes for you. And you can modify them as you need to, of course, but just the fact that there's like something that is doing it for you, so you don't have to set alarms, you don't have to keep an eye on your phone on lightning lanes and all that stuff. You can enjoy your time in the parks while there's someone else doing that work for you. It was so nice. So nice. And in like hand in hand with that, something else that I did pay for mouse dining, which is like, I guess kind of like it's an alert system for dining reservations at Disneyland and Disney World. And I ended up paying for, I think, just like a month, because I had been looking for dining reservations, like, you know, leading up to our trip. And that actually helped me a ton. I will say the system is slightly flawed, because I was never able to book directly from like the links that it sent you or like whatever, but paying for it to get the text messages as opposed to just the emails, because the emails are free, but the text messages are a paid service. That really helped a lot. But yeah, it helped me get like, you know, dining reservations that I wanted, you know, because it kept an eye on like last minute cancellations and things that's also like, that's how we ended up getting, well, that's sort of how we ended up getting our New Year's Eve reservation at Narcoossee's. I actually ended up booking it myself, but it's because I got the alert that people had started to cancel with like before that 2-hour cancellation window. So that's kind of, it just, like technically I booked it by myself, but mouse signing helped me alert to that, if that makes sense. It was that, and then also for Roundup Rodeo got us a good lunch reservation time for that. So yeah, I was really impressed with the 2 services. So I'm really glad, and I'll use them in the future for sure. Like, especially if we're going to Disney World, I'll use them again. Yeah, so I just wanted to just note those things that I really felt like were super helpful, and I feel like would be good information to have if you are going to Disney World, if you're going during winter, if you're going when pregnant, if you're going with kids, just like, and you know, you need all the tools and help you can get. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed following along on our Disney World trip, And if you have your own Disney trip planned soon, I hope you have tons of fun. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am not an expert by any means, but we do Disney fairly often, so, you know, I am knowledgeable. But any sort of mom, toddler Disney tip, I am more than happy to share any of my wisdom and experience that I've collected over the years. So, like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Just loving